here.
Yeah, really. More important, yeah.
Okay. Well, my assumption is that Bill is not going to be here. So we will go ahead.
Okay.
With my two faithful on Wednesday morning. So, questions?
I was able to, I mean, I wasn't here last week. I was able to read the lesson and view some of it. Yeah, I'm still trying to get a grasp on it. I thought Adam's question was an interesting one in terms of where's the center. So, you know, because I think, yeah, too often we think of the center. I think of the center as too high up, even though I know that Dantian is the center in terms of within the sphere. So, yeah, I'm still, I don't know whether catching up. I wouldn't say struggling. I don't think I'm to that point yet, but
Okay.
I mean, I don't know enough to struggle. I don't know. I mean, I do feel that I think I have a handle on my shoulder blade movement. I guess that's a good part of it, but yeah. If I have questions more specifically, and I'm not sure where we're going today, then I will ask. How's that?
I was really thinking we might spend a little bit of time on what we did last week.
I had a question kind of about breathing into the organs. I feel like I've made progress this week with that. One of the big things that have helped is really, I think, working on the focusing on moving in spheres and remembering that the sphere is in all directions, you know, so not just out in front of you, but moving behind you. That's helped with the breathing to remember that, you know, the sensations you're having in front of your body, like there should be more behind that.
Absolutely good.
So accessing the kidneys through the front, like you said last week, that has really helped. But I guess the question is, when I breathe into the organs and I have a strong sense of that, it feels like you're physically moving less air. And so I guess, have you noticed anything like that? Or if it doesn't feel like your body's becoming starved for air, like you're moving less air and reach a point where your body's like, no, you need a deep breath. But it just doesn't seem like there was, I don't know, like as much air physically flowing in and out.
Obviously not what you want to have happen.
Okay.
So my immediate reaction is that for some reason, when you focus on an organ, that you are at the same time constricting, perhaps trying to focus to the organ rather than focusing your intent on the organ and thinking of expanding that organ and expanding it with your breath.
Okay.
That's, I'm not sure I have.
That's I think a good analysis, because it does feel sort of that way, that when I'm focusing on an organ,
Yeah,
that it's almost like I'm trying to close in on it to distinguish it from the other stuff. So maybe I'm clamping down and not letting it move it up.
I think there's probably even more of a tendency to do that with the spleen than there is with the liver, just because it's a lot harder to identify the spleen and to feel it.
Mm.
No question about that. So it really trying to not let the breath get constricted as you're doing that.
Okay.
So what's your sense in your practice of either God's or Wu style with the spherical movement?
It's hard to describe, except for if I focus on spherical movement instead of circular movement, my limbs feel more three-dimensional, I guess I would say. Like they feel more like, you know, those advertisement things, those big like waving men that you see, you know, and like blow
Balloons.
air and the guy like,
Yeah,
it feels like arms are more like that. Like there's energy in them. They are filling up in three dimensions.
oh, that's
Uh-huh.
that's good.
As far as like the movement pattern, I don't know if I could say how it's different, but it feels different just by focusing your attention on moving in a sphere. Although, like, you know, I'm sure if I made a video recording of a trace where things are, they would probably look pretty similar.
That certainly looks similar, but and as a matter of fact, you can do a movement both ways, and they look almost identical. So the part of that has to be your intention that it's going to be spherical. But also what you were talking about before, which is a big part of it, is recognizing that the energy you're working with is not just in front of you, but it's all around you,
Right.
every direction. And so the sphere is not just the ball in front of you, which also exists, but there is also then the sphere that's out here in every direction around you too. And it's more a relation to that than it is to thinking of playing with a ball in front of you, because when you do that, then you lose track of the rest of it.
Right.
So, and the thing, one of the things about the spherical movement is finding how you can round all your appendages as much as possible as you do it. So that, and I know with both of you, you're already doing that to a certain extent, but this is perhaps a deeper awareness of it. And that's part of even just thinking about bending and stretching.
Mm-hmm.
That how do you get bending to create all those curves everywhere? And so it's not just a straight movement, but it's everything. And that's part of the shoulder blade movement too, because that's connected to how the arms move. And how the arms and the shoulder blades move really affects ultimately how the legs move also. So, you have any questions about that, Joanne?
No, that was very helpful. Yeah, no, I don't.
And then the shoulder blades. So any thoughts, questions, problems, awarenesses, discoveries?
Yeah, I guess problem, I find it difficult to focus on the shoulder blade and spherical movement. When I focus on the shoulder blade, I can get the shoulder blades moving really pretty well. But it feels like it changes the movement and makes it more square than circular than or spherical.
Hmm.
You know, so.
So I think what you're describing is probably trying to put them together too soon.
Okay.
Because I think that you have to arrive at a point where the shoulder blade movement is not something you think about. It's
Mhm.
happening all the time. And then it can become a part of the spherical movement without either one interfering with the other. And I think the thing about the spherical movement is that in a way that's an awareness, not to get too hung up on trying too hard to do it, because it's something that develops over time. So that initially the more important thing to do is to arrive at a point where the shoulder blade movement is easy and constant. And also being aware, it's very easy to feel the shoulder blade movement in terms of its flat, either sliding towards or away from the spine, or its circular movement in relation to the spine. But the movement away from the ribs and back in is extremely important and very hard to feel because it is really small. We don't, and it's not something we normally ever think about.
Right.
So being aware of movements that where that's happening, and that again is going to be related to bending and stretching also. And of course, the movement of the shoulder blades is very involved with all of the twisting movements.
Mhm.
So it's all linked together. But I do think that it's a good idea to focus on the shoulder blades first, but keep in mind the spherical movement, and that will grow.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I think it's a matter of doing it to the point where you realize when you're not doing it. That's my awakening.
Yes.
Oh, oops, whoops.
that's
Yeah.
That's another good way to think about it. Absolutely. Well, we're not at that yet. So I guess we'll go ahead. We're going to begin to look in more detail at what's happening in movement 5. So the hand movements in 5, of course, are similar, but not identical to what we do in movement 2. And in fact, you will not be bending forward and back and doing a cross squat in 5. You will be staying upright the whole time. at the beginner level, what you want to feel when your hands come up is where your central channel is on your skin. Your central channel is actually not on your skin, it's in the middle of your body. But what's going to happen progressively over time is that when you begin, you only feel the central channel on your skin. And then of course, at some point, all of a sudden you begin going inside the body, and over more time, you'll be going inside the body further and further. And that will continue until finally you're actually moving energy up and down your central channel. And the two of you might actually be doing that. I'm not sure. We haven't really talked about that. It would be unrealistic to think that you can get to the central channel when you first start. If you're an experienced practitioner of other Qigong and know how to feel your central channel, then you should be able to access it. And then that's what you would do. So the first thing is to remember what we were doing with your etheric body. And here there are two steps you want to go through. First, you want to feel where your hands are on the area of your etheric body, where they are in your etheric body. So you're also touching your skin. But then if you go inside the body about ½ an inch, which is really not very much, you have a layer of qi inside your body that is called the Wei Qi. Now that is what you want to really feel, that you're moving something along. That after getting your mind inside your body, your hands can go through your skin and connect with the Wei Qi. Now, why is the Wei Qi important? The Wei Qi is the energetic system in your body that connects every acupuncture point in your entire body. So by actually getting the Wei Qi to move, you can connect to what the Wei Qi is connected to inside of your body. And if you do it along the central channel, which is a place where every energy in your body is moving through, and you start stimulating that, you will in effect stimulate every single acupuncture point in your body simultaneously. But that's not going to happen if you just go up and down your skin. You have to actually go in a little bit. So you're moving the Wei Qi, which is not the same thing as just going up and down your skin. So in the beginning, I think it's utterly unrealistic for a beginner to expect that they're going to feel their Wei Qi. But you guys probably can. But if you have not done other Qigong so that you can feel your Wei Qi, just accept that it's going to take some time before you do. Before your mind can penetrate your body enough and you can get that sense of what it's like for your hand when it's moving through your skin to grip the Wei Qi and move something in it. And it will be a very physical sensation, a bit like an elevator going up and down. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is that you have to condense your body as you go into 5. So you could metaphorically say your qi becomes denser. Now, everything we've done up to this point has been more with the body being expansive and having space inside of it. So what are you going to have to do to make this happen? Well, you're now going to have to work with your Qua. Since we haven't really done opening and closing, and that's not really true, you two have done opening and closing. The Qua, which is more a part of the advanced level of this, there is something else. If you want to tighten your body up, what you want to do to sink the ball of your body. And in doing this, every part of your body is going to pull on and become more tightly connected to every other part of your body. And then on that basis, you're going to be opening and closing, no matter how. Now, how do you do that? So the first thing, as really you already know, when you stand by tucking your pelvis so that your sacrum points to the earth, what you should also feel, is your feet being pulled right into your pelvis. That's purely mechanical. If something's attached and you close your quad, it's going to lift it. So your feet come up, and by doing this, rolling of the pelvis under so that your sacrum points down, you're also going to find that a lot of the top of your body is going to come right down into your pelvis. So keep in mind that your pelvis is right in the center of your body, and it is kind of the main control valve for all body movements. Everything follows it because of its size. Now, as you're doing this, we have a second issue. When you tuck your pelvis, you have to make sure that your feet are comfortably on the floor and that they're not moving around. So again, when you tuck the pelvis, it is pulling the soles of your feet, the bottom of your feet, up until you kind of feel them going into your pelvis. If you do that, this will make your legs very connected to your pelvis and to your upper body. And the purpose when you do this is that it's going to get your spine, give your spine a stable platform to rest on. Now, if you're just letting your pelvis go down, there is a little bit of room so that your sacrum could probably wiggle all over the place. Then you would not be clearly connected to your feet. So, of course, that particular adjustment is something you guys have worked on previously, and I'm going to presume that you can do it. We'll look at that in a bit. But it is an important first step. You have to have that particular adjustment of the pelvis before you go into the next step. So really important that you have that. It fixes the sacrum in place so that it's not going to wobble. One of the major problems, I'll let you read that later. You read that now. Now, by having your legs go into your pelvis, it's going to make sure that everything that is coming from your legs is going to flow through. The chi, the motion, and the nerve flow. They are going straight to your spine. But if you're just kind of loose, then when they get up to your pelvis, they may just get scrambled. And then the next thing you know, vertebrae are popping out somewhere in your spine. So the intention of this is to actually get everything to arrive at your spine without any distortions. Any distortions eventually end up causing vertebrae to go out of place. So distortions eventually end up in back pain. Also, you want to make your spine perform well to do whatever athletic or long-term thinking or sitting in meditation for a long time that you want to do. The signals in your spine have to be regular or they will mess up what you're trying to do. So what you're trying to do is to prevent that from happening. Now, I don't know what you call this, the movement of the arms in 5. Bruce calls it a windmill movement. And in a way, that's a reasonable description of it. So in movement 5, our hands are rising up the center. And in movement 6, they'll be going in the opposite direction. In movement 6, you're going to come up from the sides and your palms are going to move everything down your central channel. So it is useful in the beginning to remember that 5 goes up and 6 goes down. Later on in the program, we'll be showing you what you do with your spine. Because if your legs are connecting to your spine, what is your spine doing? How does it want to connect to your legs? So that will come a little bit later. But right now, let's get what the basic movement is. And we've done this before, but the thing that's happening now that we're going to talk about is what is this condensing? We've talked about it with the two of you somewhat before, but we need to be really specific about it here. It is going actually to happen as you are completing the last movement 4 and as you begin to go into 5. And then of course, you're going out. So what we're talking about is that with the psoas muscle and the quad, we really think of closing a bit, and that amount of closure remains. So originally our opening and closing, let's say, was like this, okay? When you condense, you go approximately 30%, we'll say, closed. And then closing and opening occurs in the remaining space. So the movements become smaller because you have already closed part of the range of even physical movement. But the purpose of doing that, because you're going to be opening and closing, of course, all the way through that. So with that remaining range you have to open and close to move energy through your body. So that we need to be clear about that. So we'll do that in a minute. I'm sort of editing what I'm doing here because I just have you guys. Okay. So what's happening with the twisting outward and inward and the opening and closing of your quad after you have condensed is your quad, of course, expands when you go out, and it moves inward with your pelvis when it closes. But what it does is that it actually increases the strength and intensity of the energy. So let's actually together, let's do just one movement of 4 and then go into 5. And kind of think about this. So let's actually do a whole 4. So maybe I'll, So do one of four with its full movement. So you're bending as you go down, and then you're extending as you come up. And then as you go into the transition, you're beginning to condense. So the movement gets smaller. And you're going to go right into movement 5. And then continue on. So you're twisting in, the energy's coming into the central channel and up the center, and then out and into the side channels and down. So you're bending in and extending out, twisting in and twisting out. Just continue for a moment. Try not to tense up as part of condensing. Okay, relax for a moment. That's actually quite good, Joanne. Better work with rising and sinking.
Yeah.
So what did you feel, if anything?
I felt the connection with my legs to my feet.
Good.
I was very aware of that. I mean, I think because we have done work on the channels, I feel like I can go deeper than the surface or just inside the surface. And had been working on that in this.
Yeah, and I think that's right. The two bills probably need to be aware of starting from the surface and moving in.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing about 5 is just that basic thing of remembering when you're going down and when you're going up, because it's different from the others.
Yes, it is. One of the other things too, if I actually, I'm going to turn sideways because this movement, when you are doing this movement, it's working much further away from the body because there is less bending than there is when we're doing 2. When there's a lot of bending.
Right.
Because you're doing a squat, which allows.
Yeah.
But you want to think of trying to match the amount of bending in the arms to the amount of bending in the legs,
Mhm, mhm.
so that it's it's very easy to get into not very much bending in the legs, but a lot of bending in the arms. And that's not where it is
Right.
here.
Yeah,
And part of that too, I think, helps to release the shoulders. Is the idea of condensing is not to get tense, in this,
right.
but to increase the power of the movement. So, any other questions on that at the moment?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No,
I'll go ahead and say this. Remember, because the area of your quad has shrunk, the motion is not going to be as large as if your pelvis was just loose. But the purpose is actually to start tightening up and condensing the energy flows that are in the body, and not to have it be kind of loose, but have it be really targeted right into the channels where you want the energy to flow. So the next step in this is to recognize the connection of the arms and hands, moving through the etheric body and thereby moving the energy in the body. So it's not that you do anything different in the movement. It's just that you really have to be aware of the etheric body, and the fact that when you move within the etheric body, it affects energy within the body, within the physical body.
Okay.
So that's part of and we've talked about this before, actually. But we're really wanting to make that connection. So that's another piece of this. And of course, we're always working with the fact that there are so many energy flows that are happening simultaneously. So we have the circuit of the central channel to the side channels to the central being a constant. We also have the macrocosmic circuit functioning. We're trying to have that be present all the time as well. So part of getting all of these to function smoothly, continuously, is connecting through the etheric body, because that's a very effective way to connect to the energy. So I guess what I'd like you to do is just to do maybe do 6 or 8 repetitions like we did a moment ago. Try to really be aware of how deeply you you can go to connecting to the central and the side channels? And are you able to make those connections, whether it's on the surface or further in? And also, can you at the same time be aware of the etheric body, moving the energy in the body through moving through the etheric body?
Okay.
So Adam, see if you can make your bending of the arms be a little further away from the body so that they don't bend as much.
Okay, even farther?
Mhm.
Okay.
How did that feel?
Different. It feels a stronger connection to the etheric body. It feels just feels like there's a strong connection there, but it also feels, I mean, not like how I've been doing it, so a little
Yeah.
unsure of kind of where in space I'm going.
Yep.
But it definitely feels fuller in the arms, out into the hands, and then connecting with the etheric body. It was a little tougher to try and connect with the central and side channels
Mhm.
while doing all that, but I think, you know, when you're changing what you've been doing, that's
Oh, yeah.
kind of to be expected.
So you're good about connecting at the level of the lower dantian and feeling like most of the time that's happened. Once in a while, it tends to come up.
Uh-huh.
So finding how you can go from this point and still get that connection at the level of the dantian and then come up. Yeah. What did you feel, Joanne?
Yeah, I definitely felt my etheric body. I felt all the pieces. I didn't necessarily feel them always all connected
Yeah,
because I think I was paying attention to, oh, what do I feel now? And then kind of losing
yeah,
the rest. I understand that process.
yeah.
So, and was also just aware of the condensing and the, yeah, needing to pay more attention to that piece.
Yeah, there's a lot,
There's a lot going on.
there is a lot going on in 5 and 6.
Right, right. But yeah, but I don't think I have a question about any of them as much as understanding that, yeah, through practice, I'll pull them together.
Yeah, good, good.
I think, I mean, we did good work, and maybe because we were on 4 for so long that I felt like that really helped with work on the etheric body. I could really feel that in 4.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's interesting how, at least I have the same experience that I do not feel the etheric body as clearly in, say, 2 and 3 as I do in 4.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But that may partially be just that I think that awareness strengthens as you go through the practice.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah, but because I think once you get it in one place, you can move it to the other places.
yeah.
You carry it on, you know?
Right. Any issues for you?
So just, I guess I missed connecting and raising it up.
Mhm.
I think in 5, I was always trying to connect.
I don't know.
So when you're raising it up, so once you've connected, that's when you started raising as the arms come up, and really, I mean, they're sort of separating already as they come up from that lower
Well,
dantian.
no, not really.
So we're connecting, we're still connecting as we come up, and we're separating.
Yeah, and it's not, the thing we want to be a little careful with is that it's not separating right away, because the movement is out and it's more,
Really connecting at the lower dantian and driving the energy up the central channel,
and
then out into the side channel,
right.
and then back down.
Yep.
Okay.
So ultimately it's perfectly fine for the hands to rise as high as the top of the head.
Okay.
But they,
I just
well, we haven't really focused on this, so. Yeah. Yep.
comment about staying loose while condensing is helpful, because I can feel when I condense, I want to. I don't know how to describe it. Contract everything,
Yes.
and it feels like you are condensing when you do that. But yeah, it's easy to do.
I found that even more acute in the form. At those places where we condense in the form, I had a bit of a struggle with that. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the other thing I found was just but maybe this time around, it's been a while since we've really focused on 5, that the twisting is better because it's coming from the shoulder, because I'm more aware of it coming from the shoulders.
Ah, good. in many spiritual practices, the purpose of this movement in 5 and 6 is to take everything from the left and right channels and begin the progression of raising the energy up your central channel for enlightenment purposes. However, what I really want us to get is that if we talk about normal human health, normal human mental functioning, then this circulation is happening 24 hours a day. And the trick is that as long as it is smooth and healthy, everything moving just fine, then this is a positive for having good health or healing illness. But when you can't bring it up the middle, then when you go to the left and right channels, you're going to get breaks. Likewise, if you get breaks in the left and right channels, you're going to start getting breaks in the central channel. So the object is to get this whole circuit to become as smooth as it can be. And even if you can't feel the chi that well, at least imagine it. Okay, then we talked about all of that. Right. Doesn't work too well. So by tightening the quad down when you condense and doing this, you're actually stretching it open more. The reason to stretch it open more is to facilitate the energy being able to go from the middle part of your body to your left and right channels and back into the central channel. That is the function, and that is the reason why it's done. It's not just to move the body. So, any other thoughts about the about God?
I had a question just about counting the repetitions in number 4. So the transition from 3 into 4, as you finish 3, you come around and you come down for the first time. Is that really just transitioning, and then you would count like 1 as the arms come back up, or is that time coming down? Is that really the first one, and then coming up is 2, or is that?
I love it. So you come out of here, and to my mind, this is the beginning of 4.
This is the beginning of like the first one of 4.
This is the first one. So at this point, you've completed 1.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
The extra is really at the end.
I'm
The
sorry.
extra movement is at the end, if that's what you're looking at, Adam, right?
Yeah. So
Because then you have to go down to get to 5.
right.
Yes. Okay.
And that going down, we'll work on that next week probably, but that going down after the final movement of 4, that's really when the condensing occurs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Okay. Yep.
on that, but that's
Okay.
It's clear.
good. So not that it matters a great deal. Well, actually, this part is pretty much over. So, They will say, the end of God, so.
The end of God's.
And
The
now,
beginning of,
so, I think thinking now about the blue style and going back to what we were talking about at the beginning of class. I think the important element to work on in the form is to getting the scapular movement to be constant and appropriate.
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 Well,
Yeah, all right.
so it's, you don't want, you don't want your scapula going in when you want the energy going out.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
So you have to find, how do I, where is this happening? So that's really, I think the important thing to focus on in the forum at the moment, because we really have to get that connection and really being aware of the continuousness of the movement. And at least at this point, rounding the corners, Master Joe's, one of Master Joe's favorite words. So finding how you make those transitions from posture to posture, or even part of a posture to another part of the posture, without creating corners. And that, I know that isn't a new concept, but it is, at least for me, I still have those moments when I am flowing and I say, oh, why did I do that? Having created a corner. So, any questions about scapular movement in the form?
I don't think any question, just, need to practice it and do it. And
Yeah.
figure out how to round the corners in the scapula.
Yeah, I think that, I physically feel like I'm getting stronger. So I think that, one of my goals for this week will be to at least, really work on the first paragraph on this, just that awareness, getting back into it.
Oh, I'm glad you're feeling stronger.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a long haul.
Oh, too long, too long.
Yeah.
Spring does help though, because I think just being able to get outside and move more also is helpful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, well.
Here's-
What?
Just a question about the scapula, like moving in and out. Like there are positions where you move the scapula where it feels like inside edge of the scapula flare out from the spine, but that's not what you mean moving in and out,
Well,
or is that part of it?
the movement, yeah, because the movement can be that it's going both out and back in again.
Okay.
It can be so that you have both movements happening simultaneously,
Okay.
because the scapula can move in a more spherical manner.
Yeah. All right.
So, but I don't think there is a sense of an edge tilting up, but rather the whole scapula moves.
Okay.
So it's not. That's a completely foreign concept to me.
Okay.
But a good question. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. Why don't we do a little bit? And really just, I think the first stage is just trying to be aware of keeping the scapula moving,
Yeah,
right or wrong.
right.
Just-
Right or wrong, is that what you said?
Yes,
Just get some movement in there.
Whether it's doing the right thing or not, just don't let it seize up.
yeah. Make sure it's moving, and then if you feel like you can get through the first paragraph and keep it moving, then begin to really examine whether it's the appropriate movement or not.
Okay.
All right, I'll try a little. My hip is a little tired from the last hour. We'll put it that way.
Okay, don't overdo.
I will not overdo, but I do want to, get a sense of some things here.
Sure.
Yeah. I felt like they were moving better in the beginning,
Mhm.
and I lost connection with the right scapula about halfway through, and I
Oh.
couldn't really. I don't know. I could feel that it was still moving, but like,
It was not.
yeah, like it wasn't as strong as the left. And
Huh.
somewhere along it kind of lost a little bit.
Huh. I don't have a, I don't
Yeah.
have a. Obviously, something tightens up.
Yeah, that's, I think, kind of what it was. It felt like, maybe the muscle started contracting there, so it wasn't getting as much movement in.
Yeah. How did that feel to you, Joanne?
Yeah, I think that they feel more, obviously they feel more in sync in certain postures, right? I think I had a little bit of the same experience that Adam did, but I felt it on the opposite. Left rather than the right. And I think that's more around certain postures. When the arms are really in different places,
Yeah.
as opposed to when the arms are not in different places. So yeah, I'll have to kind of, keep working on that and paying attention to that.
Well, that makes sense, though. I mean, if certain muscles need to be stretched or loosened,
Yeah.
that can create spots where you're
Mhm.
not moving as well. I couldn't see very much of you, Joanne. You were off camera there, so.
I know at one point I realized I just kind of I should have been started more central maybe.
Okay. I was going to say, remember that when you go into that palm, there's a difference in height
Mm.
in the hands, and
Okay.
then
Then it evens out.
so it goes here, 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 here.
Yeah.
There are those. Yeah, and the thing, actually, this is, we have to remember that in this position that actually, that each hand is actually expressing a different energy. So that's part of why it's helpful to have them at different heights, because it helps you be aware of that. This is not as clear as when we do Wardolph left in the Young style, but it's the same energies, tongue and on, two arms.
Mm.
And then it goes, what's really weird here is that actually there is, from this out, there is a very fast in and out into G, and then in and out into
Okay.
the U and
Yeah.
Out, out,
yeah,
in, out again.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
That's one to work on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you just want to go like right into
Yeah,
this thing.
well, it's just very brief.
Yeah, right,
It's not,
right.
it's just boom, boom. So, well, that'll give you something to work on.
Yeah, good. That's good.
Well,
Thank you very
Dave.
much.
Great, thank you. See you all next week, David. I'm sorry I didn't get the check in the mail, but it's right here. It's going out.
I knew it would, Joanne.
Yeah, no, I just being away last week kind of, threw my schedule off there, but okay. It'll go in
Okay.
today.
Well,
All
have a
right.
good week.
Thank you. You too, both of you. All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank-
I hope you have a good week.
I hope so too. Do you mind if I just use your bathroom real quick?
Of
I
course
gotta
not.
drive down to Newgate and
Oh,
right from here.
oh, okay.